Hello and welcome to Getting to Know the Garnet. I'm your host, Brandon Hodnett, and on this episode, I'm joined by Swarthmore College women's lacrosse head coach, Karen Borbee. The list of Karen's accomplishments as a player and a head coach are long. Arguably one of the best to ever play the game collegiately, Karen was a three-time All-American and a three-time national champion at the University of Delaware, and she still holds the record for most goals per game in a career. A member of multiple Hall of Fames, including the U.S. Lacrosse National Hall of Fame, Borbee was named a Tewaaraton legend in 2019. Since arriving at Swarthmore in 1990, she's coached 4 sports: soccer, basketball, field hockey, and women's lacrosse. Karen has won 253 games at the helm of the women's lacrosse team. Karen, thank you so much for taking the time to join me for today's interview.
Thanks, Brandon.
I want to go back. Let's go back to your career as a player at Delaware. You accomplished what every player dreams of, winning that national championship, and you did it 3 times. What's that experience like to be at the pinnacle of your sport?
You know, it's such a great feeling because you're with your teammates and you are just so happy to be, basically with your friends enjoying a moment like that. I didn't go to college thinking that that was going to happen. And I remember the first one probably the most because I was just so surprised that we were even there. And, sometimes when you're not thinking about something, it's a lot easier. You don't have that pressure. So that one was such an enjoyable moment. And then the last one, which was the Division I national championship, which the other 2 had been Division IIs before our school had moved up to Division I. Again, that was just such a surprise because it was our first year in Division I, and we were playing a whole different caliber of teams. So again, we weren't really expected. It's nice to be the underdog, and then when you finally get to that point and you win, it's just amazing because you didn't feel that pressure. You were just having fun the whole time. So I really just enjoyed all of them. But the first one and the third one were, just a bit more enjoyable.
And who were the opponents in those championship matches?
The Division II ones, I believe are, it's funny, I'm not really even sure. We played at Penn State my freshman year. Mm-hmm. Kind of a festival experience. There were, I think 16 teams from all 3 divisions, all at Penn State playing on different fields. I know we played Lehigh. I know we played Cortland. I know I'm leaving somebody off, but I'm not really sure. And then the second one was at Westchester. And again, those are the schools that I remember the most. But Division I was a really cool lead up. So in the quarterfinals, we beat Maryland at Maryland to get to the Final Four, which pretty much shocked everybody. And then we got to the Final Four. It was at Franklin Field at Penn, which was really cool. And Temple and Penn State were the schools that we ended up playing. I think we beat Penn State in the semis and Temple in the finals. I think that's the way it went. That's a long time ago.
How did you guys celebrate your national championships?
Well, I think we just got back in a van and went back to school. I mean, yeah. all 3 we took a van to, even Penn State vans. I do remember the third one being a little bit more of a celebration because I had lived with a bunch of my teammates. So we had a house off campus so we could have a little bit more of a celebration at that point. But I do remember it was a real fun party. It was right at the end of the semester, and it was just, again, wonderful to celebrate with the people that you just were having the most fun with, your friends and your teammates. So we made it back to the Final Four my senior year, and at that time they had consolation games. We lost in the semifinals to Temple, but we ended up playing the consolation game. I think it was against, I think it was UMass, and we won. So we came in third. So my 4 years, I was able to win my last game each year for 4 years. So that was really cool. Because normally, only one team walks off, with the So I was able to do that for 4 years. It was pretty fun.
You were a prolific scorer. What made you such a threat on offense?
Um, I wasn't the fastest player or quickest player, but I think that I learned a lot from being a basketball player of how to, take advantage of space, create space. I used to tease my coach in college because every year she put me down as an attacker, and every year I ended up playing midfield, and that just showed you because I didn't have really midfield speed or even the endurance. But if a ball was on the ground and I was going against somebody to try to get it, I made sure I got it. So I think scoring has that mentality. You just have to be like, you know what, I'm going for it and I'm going to make it happen. And I did a lot of wall ball when I first started to play, and just learning how to be accurate with your shots and being quirky with fakes and moves, I think was one of my strengths and one of the reasons I was able to score.
Did you have a particular shot or a move that you liked doing the most? Or
I like the top right corner. That's where I like.
Okay.
Yeah. The goalie on my team knew it too. She's like, I know where you're going. I know where you're going. But I just had that muscle memory down that, I could hit that top right corner. And that's a tough one for a right-handed goalie. So
Yeah.
I think that helped a lot.
Nice. So in what ways has the game changed or evolved since you played?
Oh, it's a completely different game. When I look back, there isn't much film of when I played, but there's a little. And when you look back, it was such a different game because the athletes that play today are so much stronger and so much more physical. And the game is much more fragmented into different parts, the attack and the defense in the restraining area, and then the midfield transition, both offensively and defensively. We were just playing back and forth. It was like a big basketball game. The transition through was just as important as what was happening in both zones. And the physicality of the game was completely different. So it was more of a finesse game, I would say. And now it's much more of an athletic game. Not that we weren't athletes, but it was much more of a finesse as far as the skills were concerned. So the game has really changed. A lot of new rules. I mean, we didn't have boundaries. We didn't have a restraining line. And we didn't. There wasn't. As there is now the movement. You can self-start, subbing on the fly. I mean, all of these are major changes that have happened in the last 5-10 years. So the game is really different. It's very, very different.
You mentioned kind of a specialization of positions. I know it seems like, draw control specialists are starting to become more of a thing in the game. Is that correct? Are you seeing?
Yeah, no, draw control specialists, even sticks, like special sticks for draw control or for offense versus defense, very much specialized position. Subbing on the fly allows you to have someone who is an attacker, but you can then take her out when you're on defense, and you have constant changes throughout the game. That changes everything. When I played, there were very few subs. I think we had 15 or 16 on the team, and 12 play. So you can tell, people didn't come in and out of the game. You just play. So now it's very much a lot more strategy with the specialization, and it's moving more and more towards the men's style of play.
And I'm sure adding the shot clock just introduced the whole new wrinkle.
It changes the game tremendously. I mean, I have to tell you, over the years, it's been hard to keep adapting and changing, but there are rules that I think have made the game more fun to play. The shot clock is one of them. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but there's nothing worse than when you're behind and the team decides they're going to stall and you can't get that ball, and the field is so big and it's really difficult. And so you just are running around chasing, trying to, get the ball back to have a chance to catch up. With the shot clock, you never have enough of a lead to, let
Right.
down, and then you're never far enough behind not to come back. So I do like that rule, but it's changed the game.
In what ways do you anticipate the game continuing to evolve over the next decade or so, as far as safety or pace or whatever?
Yeah, I do have some worries about that. I think we're getting to the point where it is so physical that if we're not careful and responsible as coaches and as and our umpires to really keep the game safe, that the helmets could come in, and I really hope not, because that's one thing that's really, I think, special about our game. It's not supposed to be rough like the men's game, but it is getting more and more physical, so that could happen. I do think that more and more moving to a game that's could be televised more often and more spectator friendly might take some of the players off the field and make it more of like a 10-on-10 or a little bit more open. So I'm not really sure what's next. I just hope we stay where we are for a little while, because I think we need to learn more about where we are right now. So many changes came in so fast that I think it kind of, it's a risk to our, making sure our game is safe and true to, what it's supposed to be, that we need to stay here for a while. But those are the two that I see coming in the long run.
So we talked a lot about changes. What are some traditions that you've established as a head coach with your team, things that have just kind of stuck in your time as a coach?
Well, I'm a big believer in when a team is enjoying their experience and close and united and playing for each other, that you're going to do better. You're going to have more success. Plus, it's just more fun. So one of the things that I've always encouraged is how our team, what they call pump ups, getting themselves ready for the game. And I usually encourage lots and lots of interaction, whether with, one person that you pump up or taking turns to pump up the whole team. And that's always added some fun before the game starts. Even this year, I think the players, once we did our cheer, they all had handshakes. They had a partner and they just broke into their fun handshakes before they went out to the field. I think it just sets you into a position of, all right, let's go. This should be fun. This should be a lot of fun. And then the other one that I took from my experience was mental practice. And we do that before every game. Right after we go over the scouting report and we're about to finish, I describe where they're going to be, if it's an away game, what color the opponent is going to be in, seeing themselves play. And then there's two ways to do it. And I always explain that you can either be in your own body, looking out your own eyes and visualizing it that way, or you can be like hovering over the game and seeing yourself play. But the most important part of it, and we only do it for about a minute, is that you have to see yourself play the perfect game. You do everything right. And it's just one of those traditions that I started because I did it and I felt like it really made a difference for me. And now if I forget for some reason, the players are like, wait, we didn't do our mental practice. So I do think they enjoy it. And it's something we do before every game.
Yeah, it's really important to visualize what you're going to do.
Yeah, it's like when you watch Wimbledon and then you go out and your tennis game's a little bit better.
Yeah.
It doesn't always stay that way, but
yeah. Are there any memorable moments or trips that stick out to you from your time coaching?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. We go on a spring break every year, all but one. We didn't go one year, and they're just so much fun because it's a chance after a long February of cold practices and fragmented times, and that we're all together. It's warm, and we have enough time to really, do some fun things too. I've just had so many wonderful experiences on spring break. That would probably be the things that stand out to me. And then, of course, all the bus rides. There's so many fun bus rides. There's so many not so fun bus rides. But the spring trips really, they do so much for our team to bring us together, get off campus, away from academics, away from, coming from class, running to class, that we were able to really do some great team stuff and have some fun and really do a lot of work on lacrosse too. So.
Yeah. I know since I've been here, you've gone to Hilton Head and Clearwater. Are those your two that you've always done, or are there other ones?
Not always.
Yeah.
We've kind of settled into those two lately, but we've been to Colorado Springs. We went to Colorado College twice. We went to San Antonio, and played there. We went to Southern California once. We used to play at a different place in Florida. So we have been some different places as well, but it's nice to have a place where you know where you're going and you know where you're going to stay, you know what the fields are like, and you can just concentrate on the lacrosse and the fun part.
Good. So looking back at the 2020 season, unfortunately ended during spring break. Now that we've kind of had some time, some distance from that, what was that experience really like for you and for the team? And like, how did everyone handle that situation?
Well, it was just devastating to the team and us as coaches too, because we just felt so bad for these student athletes because we had such a great group. This team, we started out 5-0. They were really just starting to click. Our senior class was just so great and had really worked hard over their 4 years and really become great leaders. I think, they would have done really well, if we'd played a whole season, statistically, to put their names in the record book, to get awards in the conference, and to have all that taken away, not even having the opportunity to see how it would play out. It's just so difficult. I, as a coach, I'm removed from it. I had my chance to play. If I put myself in their shoes, I don't know how I would handle it. You've worked so hard for this moment. But again, and this is not anything new, I'm so impressed with these young women because they handled it so well. They were so mature about it. They handled it with class. They realized it was, I talk all the time about there's things you can control and there's things you can't. And that's something I've always taught throughout my years as a coach. And you don't want to waste your time worrying about the things you can't control. Take care of the things you can. And this was a horrible way to look at that as a life lesson because there was nothing they could do. It wasn't within our control. And the hard part was it happened gradually, sometimes when you take the Band-Aid off fast, it doesn't hurt as much. And so coming home, we really thought we were going to get another chance to play. We really thought we'd have a chance to honor the seniors. Even when they went home, we thought they were going to be able to come back and we would salvage some sort of the season. And then, they just kept taking hit after hit. And, the final one for the seniors was, no graduation. And it was tough. But again, I give them so much credit. They just handled it. It's such resilience. And not that surprises me because I've been working with sophomore student athletes for 30 years, but in a case like this, it's pretty impressive.
You gave what I thought was really powerful advice when you accepted your Tewaaraton Legends Award. In your acceptance speech, basically you said that you would tell your 21-year-old self that life's not going to turn out as you planned, and that you just have to get back out there, learn, grow from those losses, from the setbacks. In light of what we were just talking about and everything that's going on in the world today, do you think that advice is even more relevant today?
Yeah, not that I would ever, foresee this coming, but yes, it has even more relevance now. When I tried to picture what I wanted to say to these 10 athletes, lacrosse athletes that had just were at the top of their game and so much success that they've had, that, what I wanted to get across to them was that if I could go back and someone could give me some advice about how life was going to go, I would have liked to know that it wasn't going to go the way I had set it all up in my head. And honestly, that's the best part of life, is that it didn't turn out that way. There constantly are challenges, and you have to overcome them, and you learn so much from them, and you grow so much as a person, and things happen in your life that you don't anticipate. And sometimes they're the best things that could happen. And yet some of the worst things that can happen, lead up to those best things that can happen. And so that's what I would have liked to known when I was 21. So I was trying to figure out how, if you're going to talk and you want somebody to listen, you want to say something worthwhile. So I really put a lot of thought into that. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, if I was talking to myself, what would I want to know? And that's exactly what I would have wanted to know. And then you talk about a pandemic. I mean, who saw that coming? And you talk about the struggles they have right now, just finding out what's happening next year and the year after that. And, eligibility and coming back and all these decisions, no one saw that coming. So you can't have a plan. And if that plan doesn't work, you're devastated. You have to be able to figure it out as you go and take the bad things and make good things out of them. Cup half full, that type of attitude.
Yeah. What are some ways, with all this uncertainty and everything, what are some ways that your team, your recruits, what are some things that they can do to continue to train safely? What are some practical things that, that they're doing now or that you're advising them to do?
Yeah, it's hard because they're all in different places with mm-hmm. different, equipment or opportunities or spaces. The upperclassmen are really good at maintaining their fitness. They've learned really well from our strength and conditioning coaches how to really train the right way and safely. The first years that are coming in, it's a little different. They haven't had that yet. My advice over the summer always has been, put your stick down for a little bit, take a break, stay fit. And you can stay fit in so many ways. And I think the most important thing about being ready for a season is not to get ready too soon. You have to do it gradually. Mm-hmm. And since we're a spring sport, I've always been an advocate of building towards that gradually. So having a base fitness level, I think, is the most important thing to do right now. And what I'm trying to, make sure that the team is doing. But there's so many different ways to do that. And I want them to have variety, and I want them to enjoy it, and I don't want them to burn out too fast. So that base level is what we are, concentrating on. And then based on what happens in the fall and what happens in the spring, we might have to get more specific as we, come towards the season. But right now it's base fitness, just stay fit. If you want to pick up your stick, have a catch, get on the wall. But right now it's just, basic fitness. But the team is really great. They keep each other accountable. They have small groups that talk to each other. They have full team Zooms. They help each other. When someone's feeling like they just don't want to work out, they have someone they can call and helps them to motivate themselves through their team. So I like the way they do that. They take the initiative with that, and I think it works really well.
All right, so shifting gears a bit, what's something fun about you that most people don't
know? Well, I mean, there's the whole Bruce Springsteen thing. Yeah. My family and friends would say that I'm a Bruce Springsteen nut. And I guess I am. I've been to probably close to 60 concerts in my life, and I would have been at many more if I could have afforded them back when I was young. But I just get there's something happens to me when I hear the band. It's not just Bruce Springsteen; it's the whole E Street Band, and it takes me to a really great place. I think I grew up, my life sort of paralleled his and the band and the music and the songs and the words, and they mean a lot to me. And so yeah, I get teased a lot for that. I know some other people just like me, so we chat a lot, but that's something that's very unique. I guess another thing was that I didn't intend to play lacrosse in college, so I love basketball. I'm a big basketball fan, so something that I really enjoy, which didn't happen this year, March Madness, and I really enjoy all different levels of watching basketball. I find it just so intriguing to watch the coaches and see what their strategies are, and try to parallel them to what we do in lacrosse. So I have a lot of fun doing that.
Well,
What else I do that's fun, but I'm a mom. That's fun. I've got 2 grown kids, and it's fun. It's fun having 2 adult children. We can all do a lot more together, and I'm really enjoying that.
good. That's good. So, um, you mentioned the Bruce Springsteen stuff, and so we have some Bruce Springsteen trivia for you.
Oh boy! Now
We'll see. Put
Yeah.
you to the test here.
Okay.
I think you're going to ace this. All right. First question. In what year did Bruce Springsteen perform at Swarthmore?
Well, I think I don't know the year. It was in the 70s, and it was in the amphitheater. So those 2 things I do know. 76, I would guess.
It was April of 1974.
Okay, that was close.
Yeah, you're close.
Yeah, I do know where it was, and the every time I go to the amphitheater, I picture it.
Yeah.
I was only 12, so I wasn't there. So.
Okay. Second question. What was the first song that Springsteen learned to play on his guitar?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I can give you a hint if you need it.
What's the hint?
The hint is that it's a Beatles song.
Oh, I'm gonna guess "Let It Be," but I don't know.
Well, according to what I read online, it was "Twist and Shout."
Oh, okay. He plays that at every concert. It's his last song at every concert, so that makes sense now.
Which New Jersey university is home to the Bruce Springsteen Archives?
Monmouth College.
Yeah.
Monmouth University. Yes.
Yeah. Correct. And last but not least, did you know that Bruce Springsteen was immortalized as a Muppet on Sesame Street? What was the name of that Muppet?
I had no idea. I want to go look it up now. Is it on YouTube?
Sure it is, yeah.
I don't know. Tell me. I didn't know that.
They called him Bruce Stringbean.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, I gotta look that up. That makes me like him even more. Anybody that can be a Muppet, has to be a good person.
Yeah. All right, Karen. Any final thoughts as we wrap up this interview? Anything you want to share before we go?
I guess that I would say that I've been one of the luckiest people. I'm doing something that I love every day. I'm doing it at a place that I just have these amazing student athletes to work with every day. They never stop amazing me, and I feel very fortunate. I feel very privileged to do that, and actually not having that for this amount of time has made me realize even more, how much I love what I do. And this is my 30th year at Swarthmore, and it's just flown by. I just can't believe it. I've coached 4 different sports, just so many amazing student athletes that I've had the privilege to work with, and coaches, our department, and people on campus, getting to know people in the Swarthmore community. So I'm just feeling like I hit the jackpot.
Karen, thank you so much for joining us on Getting to Know the Garnet, and hope to see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Brandon.